When I hear people say, that person has such a bad attitude, it makes me crazy. Why? Because the word attitude in that context tends to be used more as blame and judgment. It's for sure not a positive thing. Okay, some people do have a bad attitude, and while you can't fix theirs, you can fix yours. I think the word attitude applies to your outlook or manner, but more people think of it in terms of arrogance and insolence, or even on a more positive note, something like boldness. And people do comment on some having a good attitude, but you don't hear it much. Is that because most people don't have a good attitude? Years ago, working in the corporate world in another profession, I had a co-manager come to me complaining about one of the employees. She has such a bad attitude, she said. It doesn't matter what I ask, she looks sulky. And even though she does what I ask, it's driving me crazy. I feel like she doesn't care. We talked about it for a bit and finally asked her, did you ever talk to her about it? No, she said. Why would I waste my time? She obviously has a bad attitude. Wow, I've been around people long enough to know that sometimes what they say or how they behave is not at all for the reasons we think. And if we assume we know and we're wrong, nothing could drive a wedge deeper between you. This is a two-way street. If they have a so-called bad attitude and you give them one back, how is that ever going to resolve anything? More importantly, what does it say about you as a manager or a friend or a spouse if you don't try to understand what's bothering them? I work on my attitude all the time. And even if you might be born with a positive attitude, it gets challenged. And it is a constant challenge to not let things slip. And that takes work. So how do we keep a good attitude? Let's look at a few pointers. Number one, I consider that maybe the other person is having a bad day. They have a critical style or something is stressing them in their personal life. Much as I'd like to think that you can leave home at home and work at work, that isn't always reality. And if it happens again or I can't let it go, I find a way to check in with them in a caring and not critical way. This is usually better done the next day, not while things are hot. They're emotional and you judging them. And don't take the reaction personally, but consider also that maybe I have triggered something in the way I asked it or said it. Again, this can be discovered when checking in with them. In the next video, I'm going to talk about what's at the root of a bad attitude.